Hi, I'm Margaret Cho. Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show. Please subscribe to the Sarah O'Connell Show. She is the best.
Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Thank you.
Margaret Cho, welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show. First of all, I have to say, I completely love you. You're amazing. How are you today?
I'm good. I love you. Thank you. I'm doing really, really good today.
I don't normally open with that, but I just had to tell you.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
You are, of course, a comedian, an actress, and a singer. But can you tell me, when you were growing up in San Francisco, what did you aspire to be when you were a little kid?
I wanted to be a comedian.
Oh,
I think
really?
that I really did. I saw Joan Rivers on television, and I thought that's what my job is. I just recognized it in a very deep way and knew that was going to be my destiny. Although I briefly before that I wanted to be Wonder Woman.
That makes sense. And now
Yes.
you are.
Yes, true.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, my understanding is you actually got into comedy when you were just 14 years old. You performed with Sam Rockwell. Do you remember your first performance on stage?
Yes. Well, I did a couple of them in school. I went to a school of the performing arts, and then I was taking a class on kind of giving speeches, public speaking, and so I think I sort of did my first sort of performances there. And then I had a teacher who signed me and Sam up for an open mic night at a comedy club. And it was really amazing. You know, they really loved us. He didn't stay on stand-up comedy. He's doing great. He's doesn't need comedy, but and he's a very funny guy too. But he moved to New York and I stayed with it. I really loved the job of it. I didn't want to be a kid anymore. I wanted to be an adult, so I just wanted to do stand-up comedy.
And so my understanding is in 1988, you entered a competition to win the chance to open for Jerry Seinfeld. And you, of course, won it. Belated congratulations.
Thank you.
Been
Thank
holding
you.
that in for a while now. It's been difficult. So you entered, you won, you performed for him, he gave you some advice to leave college, which you'd already left. So
Yes.
congratulations on preemptively doing that. But I want to
Yes.
fast forward a teeny tiny little bit to you being on Jerry's show, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee,
Yes.
where you spoke about an experience you had where you performed at a comedy club
Yeah.
and it was in New Jersey and it didn't go particularly well. It was around Easter time and you returned to the club with Jerry and he opens for you in a full circle
Mhm.
moment, which I love, going back to 1988. Was it scary confronting that audience again or therapeutic, or what was the idea behind it?
It was really therapeutic. I think that
Mm.
you don't get to do things over in stand-up comedy. You have that one chance, and if it goes badly, you can never really rectify it. So it was really special to do that with Jerry, to go back. Also to, I really love the club. The club was owned by a comedian, which there's a certain reverence that I hold for comedians who are also club owners, because that's a really hard position to be in and a really hard job to take on. And so a comic owned club is pretty important to me. And so I wanted to support them. And we had a really great time. It was a great way to just hang out and have a good time with Jerry, who I absolutely love. And he's been a supporter of mine for my entire career. So I'm just really great. I'm really grateful for his support. And I think it's a fun show. I think when comedians get together, we just have a good time.
Yeah, I've seen all the footage from that, and it seemed like you got the audience back on board and they had an
Yeah.
amazing time at the show, right? That's so great.
Yeah. Really, really great. So I'm really proud of that.
Because I'm kind of planning on getting into stand-up comedy myself. I can imagine if I did the same thing, I'll end up doing a tour and then just going back and doing an apology tour to every city again, just sitting down with all of them.
We know we should. I want to do that with every show, you know, because there's always things that come up, and then you want to kind of check in. And I think it's great. I mean, it's an interesting profession, stand-up comedy, because it's so humbling. You
Yeah.
know, that there's like it's like we're the workhorses of entertainment, and we don't have any of the glory that celebrities do because we have to really do it again and again every
Yeah.
single time we perform. You have to be funny, and you can't have an off night. You can't forget. You can't. There's so many things it's not possible where we let singers get away with anything, but comedians can't.
It's very true. And you're getting that instant feedback every time. Like if you star in a movie then whether the movie's funny or not, you're not hearing their reaction every single time they watch it. Whereas with stand-up comedy, you are.
Yeah, in real time.
Yeah,
And, it's a profession that I've like really had a hard time trying to figure out. Like I've still come at it with a sense of wonder and real like it's something that you will always be discovering. There's always something new. So I'm really glad for that. I love it still. It's the longest thing I've ever done, and so
yeah.
I will continue to do it.
And I hope you do. I've got a box set of your shows
I love
behind
it.
me. I highly recommend.
Yay. Thank
For anyone
you.
at home that
Thank you.
has missed one, there's some on Amazon Prime in all different places. Seek
Yeah.
them out, watch them all. They're so much fun.
Thank you.
But before we get into that stuff, I want to talk about your 1994 sitcom, All American Girl. It was such a funny show, and you were, of course, the first Korean American star of a sitcom as well. Representation is so important. It must have meant so much to so many people. Looking back on it now, having had some distance from it, I know you've spoken about experiences from that show and what happened to it very honestly. Looking back on it now, what do you think about it?
Well, I think it's really great because a lot of people saw it as the first time they felt seen. They saw it as the first time they felt represented on television. And that's a lot of Asian Americans, a lot of people who just felt like they were invisible, kind of felt seen by the show itself. So that was incredible. And it gave birth to a whole generation of, especially Asian American comedians who saw it and thought, well, I can do something like that too. And so that's people like Aquafina and people like Ali Wong, really credit me with getting them inspired to do what they do. And so I'm so proud of that. I'm proud of the queer representation that had too with
Yeah.
representing this idea that we could exist out there. And so, people like Bowen Yang got
Mhm.
the idea, well, I could do comedy too, which is so powerful. Or Joel Kim Booster, these are my children. We just had Mother's Day yesterday in the United States. And so this is like I don't have actual biological children, but these are my children in comedy.
And it's such an important thing. And not only that, it's not like it's just a recent thing with you. Go back to your first show, you're representing marginalized communities and just speaking out for women and empowering people. And it's amazing. And
Yes,
you've
thank
you've
you.
done that for the longest time. And so just thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See, it's a joint effort now that you've
We did it together.
yeah.
You and I both. We couldn't have
Yeah.
done it without each other.
I mean, I watched it. So
I
there's
love it. Thank you.
So going back to your sitcom, I've watched as many episodes of it as I could find online. I don't normally mention people's personal lives, but you've spoken about you dated Quentin Tarantino in the past, but he guest starred in an episode which was this really funny spoof of Pulp Fiction. And your
Mhm.
grandma had a samurai sword, and he opened up this briefcase that glowed and it had bootleg videos in it. Did you spend a lot of time watching movies with him? Did he introduce you to any that have become favorites?
Yes. We watched so many movies.
Yeah,
He had just acquired, he used to be a video store clerk and he acquired the inventory of the store. And we watched something like 8,000 movies. Probably our favorites around there, but Fat City was one.
yeah,
We loved it so much we had to like go back and watch it again. So he introduced me to so many films. But what was interesting is how people treated him like a god. When we
right.
would walk around Hollywood, like doors would fly open, like tables would be set, everything. Like I've never seen that level of worship of somebody, but somebody is successful in Hollywood and a man is successful in Hollywood.
Mm,
You can't believe the amount of privilege that they command, and for me it was like super shocking,
yeah.
but I've never seen anything like it before or since. The level of ass kissing, like people wanting to be in his movies, wanting to get a part of what he was bringing
Yeah.
to film. And so that was like the most mind-blowing part of hanging out with him. People kiss his ass.
And it must have been so convenient just if you wanted to eat out, like you could always
You,
get a table.
you get everything for free.
Yeah.
You get a table anywhere, even if it's like packed and crowded and you haven't booked or anything, they'll just like waltz in, kick people out of a table, put you like it was like the level of it. And also places that I went to with him
Mm,
still treat me the same way. 30 years later.
Oh, wow.
You know, like restaurants that I still carry a little bit of that. I can't kick anybody out of a table, but they will make room for me if they see me. Just by association, it's very strange.
See, I don't think it's just by association. I was thinking about this, like you're you, so
Yeah.
you're amazing.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
I
But
think it's that.
I don't command that kind of the way that Hollywood that operated at that time in the
Yeah,
90s, film was everything. And somebody that was as innovative as a filmmaker as he was,
sure.
um, it just shocked everybody into a different way of acting. It was like another star was born, but in a director, it was very
Yeah.
different. But I appreciated that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those things like when films like The Matrix came out and it was so different. And then at the
Mhm.
time, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction and stuff like that. Now there's been millions of copycats of them. But I guess
Yeah.
in the early 90s, it was this brand new thing and a
So
massive
innovative.
departure away from 80s movies.
Yeah, it's very innovative and really exciting and a different way to look at the way that we process film emotionally and logically, and then they become part of the way that we look at culture. The
Yeah.
Matrix, I think, even more so. The Matrix has so much to do with how we even look at the world, whether you're blue pilled or red pilled or, you know, stuff like that, or like we're living in the Matrix. Like the Matrix had such a grasp on reality.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, I loved your comedy special, I'm the One That I Want. And
Thank you.
I also love to find out how you promoted it and got the word out. You had street teams in every state, and you even were like ripping tickets at the movie theater.
Yeah, what you could do is you could buy a showing, like a time, you could buy a theater for like an amount of money for the
Yeah,
time. And so I would do all of the jobs in the theater where I would rip the tickets and then I would, you know, welcome everybody in and then I would introduce the film and then show the film. And then at the end, I would do a little like a question and answer, but also kind of a mini stand-up show. And it was really exciting. So I wasn't renting out the whole theater for the whole night because it was too
right.
expensive, but I could buy one showing and then I could just show the film at that particular time. And, you know, I had fans pass out. We didn't have the internet really. This is like, we had it, but it wasn't to the extent that we
Yeah,
had it.
yeah,
So
of
this is the
course.
very
Yeah.
early 2000s.
Mm.
So people were passing out flyers, promoting it in cities, and there were like fans doing that for me for free, which was like so incredible. And then I would just go and do it. So it was a very special time. We had the internet, but it wasn't like the level of marketing. We didn't have any social media. So this
Mm.
was a very different time in terms of how do you get the word out when you're doing something.
It's such a creative grassroots way of doing it. I
Yeah.
really like that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And so your memoir has the same name as the show.
Mhm.
I'm reading it at the moment. I have to say, those kids when you were growing up were horrible. I'm so
Yes.
sorry you went through that.
Yes. I think that like getting bullied as a child like really had such a dramatic effect on just the way that I really kind of thought I don't really want to be a child anymore. Like I wanted to opt out of childhood. And I think this is like a very common queer experience where you other kids like kind of do sense queerness and there's a very like difficult thing. So
Yeah,
you just want to opt out of being a child.
right.
And so we pursue kind of adulthood much faster than we should. For me, it worked out well. And I was very protected in the world of adults that I was in. I'm glad for that because it could have gone really poorly, but it wasn't as bad as a lot of other people have it. I did really okay, but it was yeah, like when you're bullied as a kid, who these kids now, they're all adults who try to come to my show like and talk to me and stuff. Like it's so weird how they don't remember they were like so terrible as children and they still want like backstage passes and I just ignore
Yeah,
it. But
weird, isn't it?
it's very weird.
I met someone once that bullied me at school for quite a few years, and we bumped into each other in a shop somewhere years later. And he introduced me to his girlfriend and was just like singing my praises, and I was so confused. I'm like, I've never met you before. Who is
Yeah.
this person being nice to me? It was so confusing, but obviously he'd grown up and moved past that,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It's weird how they don't remember the past or they remember it differently,
Yeah,
or they do remember it and they're just embarrassed
right.
and they don't want to call attention to it. So they act like nothing was amiss or that nothing happened. That seems like it's more likely.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe some are trying to sort of make up for it, perhaps in their own way, and some may have
Yeah.
just been completely oblivious to what they're doing, and other people are just terrible.
Yeah. They're just terrible and gross. And like, how would you be oblivious to be a bully? Like, I don't know. I've never bullied anyone. I
Yeah,
couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. Um, you know, yeah, I'm just not that kind of person. So I don't know.
I always think when you get like abusive messages online that they're just school bullies that never grew out of it.
Right. They're entertaining a side of themselves
Yeah,
that, they aren't like society won't let them do anymore because they're not children anymore. So, yeah, those people are so like and it's really damaging. Like, I can, like, whenever I sort of get a troll online, like, I'll feel it for like a long time and it's awful. Like, I don't know why I let that into my mind. Like, I don't know why I allow that to bother me, but yeah, it does. It gets under your skin sometimes.
yeah, and it might just be that they've had a bad day and they go online for 4 seconds and send abuse to someone, and then don't you think about it, they've got it out of their system and just enjoy the rest of their day, but it's really messed up this other person's.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I wonder if like I wonder like what the mentality is. And also usually there are people that don't have like a profile. They're like kind of bots, or it's kind
Yeah,
of like they have a troll account, like, or something, it's just they don't have a lot of pictures. They don't have a picture of themselves. Like, it's always something very weird, like it's fake. And I mean, I've looked at people online and I've thought nasty things, especially, with the current administration and, what we're going through in America. Think very nasty things about people that there's a lot of people I really dislike in America, but I still don't lash out,
right.
even if I hate them, I don't lash out.
Mm. Yeah, most of the time, what I'll do is I'll just write a message and then get it out of my system and delete it so I never post it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, but there's people who just don't have that
Yeah,
sense of decorum or like a filter in that way, which I think is very strange.
we're just very sophisticated.
That's right.
I think so. You starred in a huge action movie, John Woo's Face Off. Have to do the
Yes.
gesture, Face Off.
Yes.
Huge film, obviously, great action movie. Can you tell me how you first got involved with that?
I was sent the script by John Woo,
Mm.
who I, of course, a huge fan, and I worked with him and the Terrence Chang, who's his producer, and another Hong Kong film star Chow Yun Fat and Michelle Yeoh at an Asian American awards show in San Francisco the year prior. So it was like really exciting to meet all of them. And then John sent me the script, and I was so excited just to be involved. I mean, I love John Woo. I love all of his films, and so it was really amazing to be a part of it. And they explode a plane, and this is like before CGI
Yeah,
or
of
anything. So they
course.
actually blew a plane up. We were all out there that day shooting, and it's it's a real plane. Like, I watched them do it, and it was so insane. Like, the way that filmmaking used to be, they spent so much money. I mean, of course, that movie was a really big hit, and now it's like this classic. But
Yeah.
in the making of it, like, it was very like lavish. We had like lobster and steak every day
Wow.
for like their lunch, and um, I would have lunch with John Travolta, and he would eat an entire beef Wellington and an entire 9-inch boysenberry pie. Right, he didn't cut the pie into slices. He would just eat the pie with a fork. And I gained so much weight eating with him that the film takes place over a couple of days, but the filming was almost a year.
Yeah.
I had to have a panel sewn into my costume because I only wore one costume for the whole thing. So I had to have a elastic panel sewed in the back because my back stretched about that much. It was so yeah. I've never been fatter on a film, but also, yeah, so lavish. Everything about it. John was very nice. Nicolas Cage was in character the whole time, which was really weird.
Really?
So half of it he was really nice, and half of it he was not. It
All
was
right. So
very strange.
so he wasn't only in character, he was whichever person he was playing of him. Wow, okay.
Yeah. So then the faces would get switched. He was like really like he was John Travolta. I mean, it was so confusing
Yeah.
because it wasn't all shot in sequence. You would always go back to parts where he was like John Travolta. So it's very strange. But yeah, I really relish those times in making that film.
So like so halfway through the film he was really villainous and horrible to you, and the other
Yeah.
half he was just eating a copious amount of beef Wellingtons.
And pie. But
Yeah.
then he would go back. Like so you would never know. You would have to look at the call sheet to see which part we were filming. But everybody in the kitchen sink is in that movie. Like it's like got Gina Gershon. It's got all of these like great like action people. It's got Joan Allen. It's a like it's just a very chock full of adventure kind of a film.
It really is. And did you have any kind of FBI anti-terrorism training or anything like that? How to handle a gun?
Me and Tommy Flanagan, I we were all Tommy Flanagan is also in the film. Were forced to go to a training camp where we were learning how to shoot our guns and roll on the ground and do all that stuff, which I am terrible at it. I mean, I do have to. I will play a cop every now and again, and I will go to like a ride along with the police and um, go do the shooting range and stuff. I really don't like it. It's not in my nature to do it. I don't like
Right.
firearms. It's very loud to me and quite jarring. But yeah, we did have to go to FBI training camp, which I'm so bad at. But it's something that I think it's a requirement for film actors. If you're going to do that kind of stuff, you have to train a little bit for it.
There's been rumors over the years about there being some kind of sequel as well. If there was, would you be interested in returning?
I would absolutely love it. I do live in the film, so I think
It's
well,
true.
there are a lot of people live, but I think I should be in the sequel. I would love to be in it. I mean, they always talk about doing a new version of it or something like that. I've heard that over the years, but yeah, I would love to.
I'd watch that. It sounds good.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
call it Face On.
That's right.
Yeah.
Face on and face off. Yes,
Yeah.
perfect.
Switching subjects completely, you starred in an episode of Sex and the City playing a fashion show producer, and there were scenes where you were in a bar and at a fashion show. Really fun episode. But my question to you is this: what is the best fictional party you've ever attended while starring in a TV show or film?
Oh, the best fictional party was definitely in Fire Island, where me and the boys crash a party on the Pines. So we go to like the fancy house, and it's all like gorgeous guys in speedos and before we did every take, everybody would get down and like do a bunch of crunches or push-ups, so they would be pumped up in the scene. And there's like a hot tub, and everybody's like dancing, and that really was great, because we also had just a fun time making that film. So it was like we were at a party. It was like a night shoot, so we were shooting overnight, and all of us had such a blast making the film in general. But that was one of the scenes that was really special because it was an actual party, but
Yeah.
it was in the film. So that was a good one.
Was it one of those things where you filmed it in one day, or was it like you were spending the entire week filming this party?
We filmed that one. That party was just in one day.
Right.
But and it actually wasn't on the island. That was not on Fire Island, but that was actually on Long Island. So it was
Already.
not in Fire Island proper. But we spent the last week of shooting all shooting in Fire Island. But a lot of the um, interiors and different kinds of like party settings, or the different houses, were not actually on Fire Island. Um, but yeah, that was a really special party.
See, I watched that movie just today. I absolutely loved it. It's got
Oh,
amazing
good.
cast. Bowen Yang's in it. You've all got such great chemistry together, and I
Yeah.
wish there were more films like that.
I love it too. I really hope they make a sequel to that. There's
Oh
always
yeah.
talk of a prequel or a sequel, especially now with Andrew's wonderful success with The Wedding Banquet, with Bowen and Andrew did such a beautiful job with that film. And
Mm.
so, they've been mentioning a sequel or a prequel. I'm always up for it. I love them. And so hopefully we will soon.
That'd be really good because if I understand correctly, the movie started off as a TV show that was going to be on.
Quibi, yes. And but then I think that the way that happened, it was really meant to be because it's such a beautiful film and it's such a beautiful summertime romantic comedy, and
Yeah.
now it's become like this classic. So I'm really grateful that it turned out the way that it did. So it was perfect.
So I highly recommend everyone watches that. And in the UK, it's available on Disney Plus. So you can watch that, maybe subscribe for free.
Yes.
So next I'm going to talk about the Notorious C.H.O. Cho, of course.
Yes.
I love how you talk about important subjects like advertising and magazines lowering people's self-esteem. It's something that people don't mention that much. Like we're exposed to it every single day, aren't we? And there's not really anything just pointing that out.
Yeah, you're right. Yes. It's like this feeling like we're like not enough. Like we're
Mm.
always being told we're not enough for whatever it is. I think social media also has like the handle on our own insecurities because it targets like what we look at. It takes what we look at and then feeds it to the algorithm and says, well, this person is feeling lacking in these areas because of what they
Yeah.
look at. And so that you get these targeted ads that you're so compelled to buy. And it's all about insecurity and it's really destructive.
Yeah, I read an article the other day. I think one of the social media apps were tracking if people had deleted selfies of themselves and then they'd start advertising makeup to them and stuff like that. It's horrible.
It's so horrible because it's really like you subconsciously seek an answer. I think whenever we're looking online for
Yeah,
anything, subconsciously we do come to social media, we come to the internet with things that we these buried desires, and then what the internet does, it monetizes that and it throws it back at us, which is it's a real drain. Like I'm on a no buy. I've refused to buy anything since November, since the presidential election, because I don't want to feed into the economy that
yeah,
this country is. So, and I've noticed how much I want to buy, but I can't because I'm on this no buy. And I realize like I'm so just a spending machine, the way that the internet is set up
yeah,
to play with my like needs and desires and wants and dreams. And it's so weird when you make a strong commitment of, okay, I'm not going to buy anything at all. And then you see how much you are like motivated to spend. But when you don't, it's really eye opening.
yeah. I've been doing the same thing actually. There's a website named after a rainforest, and I used to just buy stuff on it all the time, just stuff I didn't need, extra stuff, whatever it was. And the exact same thing in November, I stopped using them. And I've been trying to just think, where else can I get this from? Like, if there's an independent seller selling something, go to the website, find out who they are, and just find out where their actual website is or where I can go to their store locally and just support people directly.
Yeah, that's so much better. I
Yeah.
mean, the thing is that we pay for the convenience of like
Mm.
having all these desires immediately. It's that satisfaction. You're not delaying gratification anymore. You're getting it right away. And but there's a price to be paid for that, whether that's through the climate, whether that's through exploitation of workers, whether, whatever it is, there's a lot of exploitation that's happening on so many levels.
Yeah, it's very true. Now, in 2007, you joined Cyndi Lauper, who incidentally I just saw in concert in February at the O2
Oh
Arena in
wow.
London.
Yeah.
Amazing. Love her so much.
Amazing. Yeah.
And Debbie Harry and Erasure for the True Colours tour supporting the Human Rights Campaign. Can you tell me how that came about?
Well, Cyndi asked me to join the tour, and I was so elated because I mean, I absolutely love her. She's a good friend. I mean, we became friends through the process of working together and touring together. And it was just such an honor to be able to watch her play every night. Also, Debbie Harry, who I love. Also, Andy Bell. I mean, I love Erasure. And there's other people that would come in and out with, like, we would have sometimes the Indigo Girls, and sometimes we would have the B-52s or Joan Jett. So all of these people I absolutely adore and are really good friends of mine now. Over time, I've built my connection with them, and I really love being part of like a rock tour. I did some of my music too on the tour, which was really exciting as well. But for me, it was really just about sitting side of the stage and enjoying everybody, and getting to sing with Cyndi at the end, because she wanted all of us to come up and sing True Colors with her at the very end, and that was really special.
That's such an amazing experience.
Yeah,
Now
she's so
you're,
cool.
she is, and yeah, her True Colors Foundation. I love what she does with LGBT homelessness and all that kind of stuff. Raising money is really important, and
Yeah. Yeah, she's really a long time supporter of the queer community
yeah,
in so many ways, not like, I mean, she's sort of the original like Chapel Roan. Like when you look at Chapel Roan, you think, well, this is like something that's actually happened before, because
yeah,
Cyndi Lauper was really that, for so long and still is. And she's very political. She's always been very political. And yeah, I'm going to her farewell tour
yeah.
in August here, which I think is just so odd to me that she would actually be like done touring, because she's like such a tour, like just a continual, always on the road kind of person. So it's hard for me to imagine that she'd be slowing down. But yeah, she's actually going to finish.
She is, yeah, that's the tour that I saw as well in February, and she was supported at the end by Boy George. So I got a
Yeah.
1980s overload, which was a lot of
I
fun.
love. I've never seen George. I always wanted to. He came along sometimes on the True Colors tour when I wasn't there. Very
Yeah.
rarely. There was a couple times where I wasn't there, but I really I love George. I've never actually seen him live, and it's one of those ones where I'm constantly, I hope I don't miss out. I really want to see him.
I interviewed him a few years ago, and
Wow.
I grew up in the 1980s, so I knew who he was and loved him and stuff. One question he asked me was, because I do my YouTube show, he said, "How do I cope with being famous?" And I was like, "What? Your boy, what? That can't even process that question that you're asking me. Like you're one of the biggest stars in the world. Certainly when I grew up, you were." And yeah, it was ridiculous because to me, I'm not at all like some people recognize me, whatever, but like not at the same level at all. But yeah, it freaked my brain out a bit.
He's really like, he's a really interesting person just because he was gay so long ago.
Yeah,
Like that's so trippy to have been that visibly queer for so long. I mean, the 80s, it's homophobic now. The world is very homophobic now, but
yeah,
even more so in the 80s. The 80s was
mhm,
really bad. And so to even imagine for somebody to be like a global star like him, who, it's even in the name, there's like Boy George. It's like very consciously coming up with like sort of this very femme image and a very femme bluesy soul R&B voice, which is androgynous as well, but and to the appearance of this like very beautiful woman, but he's a man. So it's just like the name itself tells you, I am queer, I am different. And I think that he was such a pioneer. So yeah, I've always wanted to meet him. I can't believe I haven't.
yeah. I hope he gets you one day. Yeah, he absolutely was a pioneer. Certainly growing up in the 1980s in the UK, there's a thing called Section 28 where it was illegal to positively promote or represent LGBT people in the media. So if you ever saw anyone in a TV show, they were a punchline. And he was one of the few people that was still visible and actively working, and people respected him and took him seriously.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And just to such a star, like the level of like icon that he was, it's so impressive. But yeah, I hope that I get to meet him. I've never gotten to even see a show, so someday soon.
Yeah, I mean, up until that point, I hadn't, and I wasn't expecting to see him there that day. I think it's just because Cyndi was performing in London, and I guess he lives there. So yeah, I just
Yeah,
got lucky, I think.
so cool.
So your comedy has always, since the beginning, been very sex positive. which is why I thought you were perfectly cast as Mrs. Dell, as a sex ed teacher in the movie 17 again. And you're in a scene where Zac Efron gets into a fight, but you're trying to sort of educate them and stuff. So I thought that was fun.
Thank you. That film was funny because Zach said I'd not met him before that day, and then when I met him, he said that he had come to my shows in disguise, that he loved my comedy, and that he would have a disguise and he would just sit in the audience by himself. And I was like, that is so wild. I can't believe that. That's so wild. And when we were filming that day, he had like walls of paparazzi outside of the set that were like trying to like climb up, like just hundreds of guys trying to climb out just to get a glimpse of a photo of him. I mean, he was so famous at that time making that
Yeah.
film. Like it was just like a level of fame, again, like Quentin, that I was just not used to. So, but it was, yeah, they were all crawling to try to get a shot of him. And I'm just like, I can't believe like he would wear a disguise to come to my show. I guess it makes sense because my shows are also very gay,
Yeah.
very queer, and very diverse. But I wonder what the disguise was. I have to ask him that. I don't know. I wonder what he looked like.
Yeah. Might see him in one of your tapings or something.
Yeah, we have to look.
But then the only problem is he'll have to change his disguise, which he's been successfully wearing now for
Yes, that's
decades.
right. That's right.
Probably like just parts his hair in a different way or something. And
Maybe. But it's cute. He's got good taste. I'm glad for him.
yeah, I know he's got tremendous comedy taste, and yeah.
So lovely.
hmm So in 2010, you starred in season 11 of Dancing with the Stars. You performed a Viennese waltz to Queen's We Are the Champions. You jived, you danced samba to Copacabana while wearing a rainbow dress. Do you have a favorite performance from your time on that show?
I thought I really liked doing we danced to Dreaming. It was like the Blondie song, which is
Yeah,
like one of my favorite songs. And the choreography is so fast. It's such a that show is so physically difficult to do. I'm kind of glad that I got voted off so early because I don't think I could have lasted. It was just so much dancing. I don't like that movement. I can't handle that much movement. But um,
I
it
get
was really
exhausted watching
special.
it. Yeah,
It's exhausting.
yeah,
It was really
it
special
is.
to do. Getting to meet my, Louis Van Amstel, who was a great partner, and then all of the people like David Hasselhoff was on there, and Michael Bolton, who was really fun, really really nice guy. But yeah, it was such a weird experience. I got to meet Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston came to support Brandy, and so she was there quite often, and that was really, I was so excited. I
Yeah.
was so excited to meet her. But she, yeah, she was like, I was very starstruck. Like, so I couldn't even speak because it's just like the woman was too stunned to speak. Like, I was so too stunned to speak because it was Whitney Houston. But yeah, it was a really incredible experience.
Yeah, I mean, Whitney Houston was one of the greatest of all time. I got to see her perform once in 2001, but yeah, she is legendary.
Oh, wow. That's a good time to see her too.
It was.
Like, that was a good time.
I went to Michael Jackson was doing a 30th anniversary concert with the Jackson Five, Whitney Houston, Justin Timberlake, Beyonce, Samuel L. Jackson. It was
Wow.
ridiculous. And I was at university at the time and I maxed out a credit card. And I'd never traveled to America before, but I got 2 tickets to, yeah, go to that concert.
Amazing. Where was it?
It was at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's so legendary. That's like a once in a lifetime kind of experience.
And so the other thing of that was the date that I went to that concert was the 7th of September 2001. The day before
Wow.
that, I went to the top of the World Trade Center, and then 5 days later, it happened.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So yeah, that kind of freaks me out anytime I think about that.
It
But
is freaky. I mean, but you were like the last person, one of the last few people to have experienced that.
yeah, but I think about, I went into the gift shop and stuff, and I just wonder, are they okay? And stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I know that I think it opened at like 10 in the morning or something. I think like what
Yeah.
time did the staff get there and stuff like that. It's horrible, horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
kind of I can't disassociate that concert from that happening
Of
because,
course,
yeah,
it's all that same week. That week and the world totally changed.
I
So,
did. I think
yeah.
I flew back on the Sunday night and was just like jet lagged on Monday and
Wow.
then woke up
Yeah. Then
Tuesday.
Tuesday,
And
everything's
I'm
different.
changing the subject again. Going on to 30 Rock now, amazing TV show. You were Emmy nominated, outstanding guest actress for playing Kim Jong-il. How did that come about? And what was the experience like at the Golden Globes where Michael Keaton took a photo of you with Meryl Streep? And do you have that framed on the wall?
I don't have it framed up, but I think it's in my social media
Yeah.
somewhere. But I think, yeah, it was really incredible. I was so lucky to get to do that, and I love Tina Fey. She's always helped me out. She's a really great person and somebody who's just been a champion of mine for years. And so she asked me to do 30 Rock, and it was really special. And we just laughed. It's really easy to turn me into Kim Jong Un and Kim Jong Il. Like I basically need no makeup and hair. It's so fat. Like it's it's no transformation at all. So it was a very easy thing to do. And yeah, I had a blast doing it. The Golden Globes was really fun as well. Just to be a part of that. Prince was there, and one of our party friends with Tina asked him to come to an after party with us, and he said no, but he was he was very Prince. It was very exciting to see him. But yeah, I really love doing that.
Yeah, you're amazing in it. And it's so fun for me just to go back and rewatch this stuff because I saw it when these shows originally came out. And I've been
Yeah.
having the best time just revisiting all of this stuff
Oh,
in a row.
good. Oh,
Yeah,
good, good. I'm glad. Yeah, it's fun.
you've got a really good filmography. I highly
Oh,
recommend it.
thank you. Thank you.
Very bingeable, yeah.
Good. Thank you.
So here's a question that I ask every guest on the Sarah O'Connell show. Can you tell me a fun fact about you, or a hobby, a party trick, something like that?
I have to cut about 72 nails a week because I have three cats and a dog, and they are very fast grower. They grow nails very quickly. So I have learned to be a very fast nail cutter and ear cleaner. I have to clear and clean ears. Um, I'm pretty good dog and cat, like, I don't know, a concierge. I wouldn't say I'm like a stylist or a groomer because I'm not that level, but I'm very good at taking care of the needs of my animals.
Sounds like a very high level of service. I don't think I
Yes.
maintain myself that often.
I do way more for them than I do for myself. I barely do anything, but my cats and dog deserve the best.
Think so. I completely agree.
Yes.
So you are, of course, an amazing trans ally. Have you got any messages for the community which are being targeted and their rights eroded all around the world at the moment? Why is it important to be an ally?
It's so important to be an ally for the trans community because we would not be anywhere without the trans community. The trans community is responsible for so much for us in the queer community. We owe a great debt to the trans community for queer liberation. We owe a great debt to the trans community for advances in science. We wouldn't have the iPhone as it existed were it not for a trans woman. We wouldn't have like synthesizers. We wouldn't have so many things that we rely on daily if we didn't have the trans community. But not just that, like it just our duty to protect our entire community as queer people. We have to protect all of us. And the trans community is a really, really important part of it. So it's so sickening the way that the trans community has been attacked, especially right now in the United States with this weird executive order of Trump's that there's only two sexes or two genders, whatever. It's just so meaningless and so insane. Or in the UK, where the Supreme Court says the like a woman is a what? Like, what is this about? Like, what is? I don't really understand why the trans community has to be victimized in this way. But what I do know is that we will always be here for the trans community. The trans community has always been here for us. And so we are prepared to fight. I am prepared to fight for the trans community.
And you're an amazing ally, and you always have been, and the community loves you so much.
Thank you.
You know what I think it is? It's, bathroom segregation in the 50s and 60s. And then that wasn't legal anymore. And then they tried it in the 1970s and 80s with gay people, and now they're doing it with trans people. It's just recycled bigotry and a
Yeah.
different target.
Yeah. And this odd notion about safety in sports or fairness in sports, which is like so dumb. Like women's fairness in sports is such a weird topic because why don't you care about women's fairness in life? Like we should have equal pay. Like I'm not concerned about women's sports. You know, it's like a very odd argument to be fighting tooth and nail for, and it's not about safety. If we were actually like concerned about women's safety, you would make laws affecting cisgender men because that's who's harming women. It's not trans women, and it's just a very strange justification. But I don't. It's like beneath me to even argue it, but because they're forcing it with legislation, I'm forced to argue it, and I hate it.
Exactly, I completely agree. Yeah, there's other
Yeah.
things I'd rather be doing with my life, but like it's
Yeah.
really important to speak up and speak out just about any marginalized communities. And even if it's not affecting you, then
Hmm.
it could be affecting you because we don't choose who we are or how we're born or anything like that. So, put yourself in other people's shoes and just think that equality for everyone matters.
Yes. And trans lives matter to me so deeply because so many of my family members are trans. So many of my chosen family members are trans. Um, it's not it's not an option for them to be hurt. That for in my life, there's it's not an option. There's not an option for any of the trans people around me to be hurt. It's not an option. Like it's just if I have anything to do with it, I'm going to stop it. And so I feel like this is what we all have to commit to. Um, so I mean, I think we fight back as hard and as are unhinged as they are, that's where we get progress. So I think that's what I plan to do.
I completely agree. And speaking of which, you starred in Sharknado 5 Global Swarming. And I don't even really want to bring it up because, you're on the beach celebrating your honeymoon in Okinawa.
Hmm. Hmm.
And this green swarm of sharks
Yeah.
takes away your brand new husband. And then
It's
moments
so
later,
sad. It's so
I can
sad.
barely even say it or even think about it now. I'm still processing it. How traumatic was that for you to film? And
It was
could you
so
see
traumatic.
anything?
No, you don't see anything. You don't see
No.
any because there's no, I think they put like a piece of tape on a stick and then you act to that. And then they create the Sharknado, of course, in post. So we didn't see anything. And it's not even a beach. It was just a rock, but it was very fun to do with Jai Rodriguez, who's very funny. And yeah, but so, so iconic. You've got to be in the Sharknado franchise. Very iconic.
It really is. And it was so funny for me watching the fifth one because it starts off in England with people I really wasn't expecting to see. It was very funny.
Yeah.
Um, it'd be great if every other scene they just didn't use any special effects and you just see the stick.
Yeah, just the stick with the piece of tape on it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the reality of it. I think that it would just be very, yeah. I think it would show how great of actors we are.
Yeah, I think it makes it an even bigger deal.
Right.
So in 2019, you were revealed as the Poodle on the first season of The Masked Singer. You sang Heartbreak by Pat Benatar and Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper. Do you get to pick your own songs when you're on that show?
Um, no, you're given a choice.
Okay.
You're given like I think a roster of like different things that you can do and also like, maybe work with somebody if you sort of figure out your preferences. But I got lucky because I got to sing songs that I really like. And it was really special to me. And yeah, I mean, it's amazing how much of like a hit that show became. Like it was such a now kind of phenomenon. Everybody loves it. I love it too. I think it's really incredible. But back then nobody knew what it was. So it was very easy to get by and nobody really knew what was going on. Now I think they have a harder time sort of concealing who's the mask
Yeah.
behind what.
Yeah, you see all the speculation online, don't you?
Yeah, lots of speculation, a lot of people trying to figure it out. But I think, yeah, I got to do it in a special time where everybody was like kind of just amazed at what this is. You know, it was just this big show in Korea, and nobody knew what it would become.
Was it difficult to sing and perform with the costume on and the mask? And also, did you get to keep it afterwards?
No, they don't let you keep it, which is a
No.
disappointment because I love my costume,
Yeah.
and it's definitely difficult because it's very claustrophobic. It's very hot in there, and as a singer, you're used to hearing your voice projected outward. So even that small compression of your voice, it really alters your own perception of how you sing. And I'm not as an experienced enough singer to really be able to modulate what that is to be inside the head. Um, so I thought it was pretty challenging, but other people I think who are, of course, much more experienced singers, I think have an easier time. But I had a hard time.
Yeah, I think I'd struggle too. But then I struggle without the costume on as well. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've been practicing for decades.
It's very hard to sing. Well, it's hard to sing. Also, I had to be on like this thing that went up 50. I was like on a trapeze in
Yeah.
one, and I'm like 50 feet above the audience, and I have the head, and I was so scared. Like I was really, I'm not scared of heights, but I was like not prepared to be on a huge like trapeze. But that's part of it too. Is they try to kind of discombobulate you a little bit. But yeah, it's a fun show.
Really is. And so, speaking of fun shows, a couple of months ago, I was just browsing Sky TV in the UK and just seeing which shows I hadn't seen. And so, I kind of do this thing like on America's Got Talent where I'm auditioning shows. I'll give it
Mhm.
like one episode, and if I enjoy it, I'll press the buzzer and keep watching it. And so, one show that I started watching was Hacks.
Mhm.
And I watched season 1 and 2 in I think 2 days. And then season 3 had only just come out in the UK. And I watched that and loved it. And then I thought there'd be like a year's gap. And now season 4's come out. So I'm up to date with that. I was so happy to see you in season
Yeah.
2. In your episode, you just come off a gay cruise. And I love how they populate the world with real people to make Deborah Vance's life and world just seem real. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so much fun.
I love that show, and I love Jean and of course Hannah. They're just incredible,
Yeah.
and it was just so fun to work on it and to be in the world of it. And you know, I love what they've done. I wish that I could go see a Deborah Vance concert. You
Yeah.
know, like I want to go see her do stand up because I think she's just so fun. I mean, it's just so real to me as who as the character. So yeah, I love that show.
I think they should do that.
Yeah, she should go on tour.
Yeah, for real.
It's so
Like even
cool.
if it's just like a season finale or something, just put out an
Yeah.
actual special.
Like special. I hope they do because it'd be so cool.
That'd be so good. I'd love
Yeah.
that. Hmm. I'm gonna start a petition or something. I don't know how. I
Yeah, for sure.
think you should. I saw your 2023 episode of MTV Cribs, and I love how much of your house is dedicated to your cats and dogs and all that good stuff. And I love your decor, and even that you have a painting made out of your own blood.
Yes. It's the painting is well, it's mostly my blood and then Vincent Castiglia, he's a wonderful artist that works only in blood. He actually had to supplement it with some of his blood. So it's like a blood pact
That makes
between us.
sense. And were
He's a
you freaked out when
wonderful.
you went into the store and saw him selling that? Or did
No,
you know in
no,
advance?
no. I knew in advance. I had commissioned it, and I went and he had a phlebotomist come and take your blood from you, and then you give it to him, and then he does his magic. But yeah, it's a special painting. I also have a drum head of it, which is not blood; it's just the print of it. But yeah, it was a very special work of art.
Absolutely. I've not heard of that before. And yeah, I was just thinking, did you know about it? Or was it a thing that you went into a store and saw 10 of them and you just had a million questions?
No, no, no. He just made that one for me, which is great.
Good. And it's also a huge relief.
Yes, yes. I
Yes,
mean,
right?
really.
So
Yeah.
where are you getting that from?
Yeah.
So you starred in so many amazing shows over the years. You've been in The Flight Attendant and Good Trouble and Dr. Ken and Law and Order SVU, The Bachelorette, Hell's Kitchen. Have you got any favorites just looking back on all that stuff?
I really love doing Dr. Odyssey, which I just did like a couple of months ago. I really love that show. It's like a new sort of envisioning of the Love Boat, and it's really special. It's like a Ryan Murphy show, so it was very lavish and beautiful. So for me, that was a lot of fun. Also, getting to have a cat fight with Kate Berlant, who's so hilarious, and she's really special. So that was really fun.
Yeah, you've been in so many amazing shows. And speaking of which, you've also voiced characters in animated productions such as Over the Moon, Family Guy. Do you find animated voice performances easier or harder when you only have your voice to rely on in the performance?
It's actually it's actually easier in a lot of ways because you can focus all of your energy on just your voice. And then it can be harder too because all of the performance is in your voice. And so you can't really use gestures or your face or anything like that. So um, it depends on the situation, but ultimately it is easier because you can focus everything on how it sounds. But yeah, it's a really special process.
It really is. And I was sorry to see that you were evacuated in the LA wildfires in January. It was horrific. I lived in LA for a while, about 20 years ago. How is it there now? Are they starting to rebuild? How are people just doing in general and communities that are affected?
I think slowly it's starting to come back, although a lot of the communities, like around the Eaton Fire and around the Palisades, are lost completely.
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course.
there's stuff that just never going to return, which is really sad. But I think that we are, as Angeline knows, we are incredibly resilient, and it's just something that we, unfortunately, with global warming and the way that things are, it's going to get worse. So it's a scary thing, but these change, like it really affects it, global warming, all that gets really affected. And so hopefully we will see some improvement at some point, but not likely with the current administration. So I don't know.
Yeah, scary, isn't it? I hope there's some intelligent people that can come up with some really good ideas to
Yeah.
stop the spread of these things and
Yeah.
help rebuild people's homes and lives.
Yeah.
So next I want to talk about the TV show Hollywood Medium with Tyler Henry. I saw your episode and in it he channels your aunt and Robin Williams.
Yes.
How was that for you? Did it bring you any kind of comfort?
I thought it was really fascinating.
Yeah.
Um he's really special. Like he really does have this incredible ability, and it's it's just so it's so odd to know that. So she's like, he's just like a person that can come to your house and sort of tell you all these things. He's actually a beautiful guy too, so it's um hard to reconcile. Like, here's like this hot guy telling you all these things about the afterworld and the things that you can't see. So he's really special. But yeah, I love that. I love that reading.
I think if I was with him, I'd just ask him a billion questions about how he does it and how he sees what he sees and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just very much like how he operates, but he's the
Yeah.
real deal. So it's quite miraculous. Anybody who
Mm.
can actually be in his presence. I'm so lucky that I got to do that.
Now, next, I'm really excited to speak about your music. I love your voice. Like, I
Oh,
really,
thank
really
you.
like it. And
Thank
I've
you.
been listening to your two albums, and you released your most recent one, Lucky Gift, on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day. So, first of all, just
Yes.
congratulations
Thank
on your
you.
new
Thank
album.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
How long did it take to put together this new album?
Well, half of it was recordings that I had not released, that I had made around 2014. And then
Right.
the other half I did last year. And so, for me, it was really just about finally like putting all this music out. And it's stuff that I love to do. I make music every day, and it's a big part of my social life. So it's just really special to be able to put it all out there.
I love that. You're such a creative person. And is it
Thank
just
you.
like a joke comes to you or a song lyric comes to you and you're just writing in different places for all these different projects and then over time they build up and then they're ready
Yeah.
to bring to the world?
Yeah, you kind of do it like I write a joke every day, pretty much before I get out of bed, I write a joke.
Really?
It's a long time practice, but I write something that sort of gets it going. It doesn't have to be funny or memorable, but I usually do something like right in the morning. And then um, music is something that's constant. I'll hear something in my mind, or I'll play something, and that'll spark an idea, or an idea for a song will come up and then I'll just have to like go do it. So for me, it's just a part of my creative life.
I loved your recent music video as well. It seemed like so much fun. It had a sort of 90s vibe to it.
Oh, yes. Well, the whole album, I really wanted it to sound like I would be an artist on Lilith Fair,
Yeah.
like that kind of like 90s wearing a slip dress with an acoustic guitar, that kind of vibe. For me, it's just like all like the 90s singers that I love, whether that's Tracy Thorn or Natalie Merchant or Ani DeFranco or Liz Phair. Those are the kinds of like songwriters and singers that I really kind of want to emulate, so that's what the album is.
And I really hope there's not as big of a gap between your next album because, as I say, I really do like your voice, and I'm just going to
Thank
put all
you.
your songs in a playlist.
Oh,
Go to.
good.
Yeah. Am I right in understanding that the song Funny Man was written about Robin Williams?
Yes. I wrote that really like the day after he passed away. And
Really?
then I put together an outreach for people experiencing homelessness with Roger Rocha from Four Non Blondes. And then he and I wrote the song, and then we would play it out on the street at these encampments and give out food and supplies to people experiencing homelessness and play this concert, which was really special. And so the song is part of that outreach program, but also we recorded it, and I really love to sing it. It's just for me, it's just about funny guys who don't feel so funny on the inside, but also, of course, about Robin Williams, but how I think sometimes people who are funny are often hurting. Um, and so it's a way to honor him, but honor the feeling of that.
And I know he used to do a lot to help homeless people as well. And I think he, even tried to get them involved in productions if he could and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. His major charity was Comic Relief, which I also participated in the 90s. And he did it in the 80s as well. So him and Whoopi Goldberg and Billy Crystal had a huge like telethon that they would do on television. And it was to specifically give money to people experiencing homelessness. And it was just like a very big part of his philanthropy.
Yeah. And am I right in understanding that there were times where you had to perform on stage after him?
Yeah, when I was really young, because he was the silent partner in a comedy club that I lived across the street from. So he would come and perform every night, and he would bump all the comics, and he would always go in front of me. And I had to follow him for years. It was so hard, but it made me a better comedian. He was a great guy, and he taught me very important lessons about don't follow people that are better than you. But I had to do it every time. Um, but yeah, he's certainly an incredible performer, really legendary force in comedy who doesn't get brought up a lot. I think because people are uncomfortable with the circumstances of his death. But I think that, people should remember him as his contributions to
Yeah,
society,
absolutely.
and comedy.
I will still go back and I'll spend an evening just watching old interviews with him. It's just
Yeah,
so quick and so funny.
so funny,
Yeah,
so cute.
amazing. So you're currently on your Live and Livid tour, which I
Yes,
understand runs through to the end of May. Is there any chance you might bring it
yes.
to the UK, or are you perhaps going to record it?
I will. I will. I hope that I can come soon. It's so hard right now with I don't want to leave the country because I'm so critical of Trump that I'm afraid they won't let me back in, which is like a
Yeah.
legitimate fear. Like a lot of artists don't want to tour internationally at the moment or not they don't want to come here because it's dangerous. So hopefully that'll change. But yes, I would love to.
Yeah, I'd love to see you live. That'd be
Yeah,
so
I would
special.
love that.
Yeah. And can you tell me what you're working on next? I know there's a movie called I Want Your Sex with Charlie XCX in it.
Yes, it's a movie by Greg Araki, who I made The Doom Generation with 30 years ago, which is so exciting to work with him again. And it's a very like cool. It's like a really sexy movie. It's called I Want Your Sex, and it's with Olivia Wilde and Cooper Hoffman and Charlie XCX. I didn't get to film any scenes with her, but I'm so brat, and I love her. And so I'm hoping to meet her at the premiere. Hopefully, we'll get to see her. But I just, yeah, I was so excited to be in it. But that'll be out. I also did a show called Percy Jackson, with Sandra Bernhard, and that'll be out in December. So I was really excited to work with Sandra Bernhard because I'm a Bernhardologist and I'm
Mhm.
major fan. So I really love working with her.
Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, I really enjoyed that show because that's on Disney Plus as well. So new
Yes,
season
yes.
coming up. That's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Have you got any advice for anyone that wants to get into stand-up comedy? What has served you well?
I think just doing something every day for your career, for comedy, it's like writing jokes or going on doing a show or posting something online. You know, it's serving your craft every day. If you do something every day, it adds up. And that's the best way to approach it. You know, every day a little bit, and that's all it takes.
Very good advice. Now,
Yeah.
you are an absolute trailblazer for so many marginalized communities. Which comedians and actors are you loving at the moment?
I really like I think that, you know, there's just like so many. I mean, of course, I just loved The Wedding Banquet. Like I love Bowen Yang so much. Like he's so beautiful in that. The film itself is just so stunning.
Yeah,
Um, you know, for me it was just, you know, a reimagining of course of like the 90s Ang Lee classic, but it's just such a different take on it and it's just so beautiful. So for me that's like been something that I'm really just so excited for. And I love Bowen in movies. I just think he's such a movie star, and just so special to watch him do anything.
he really is. I was so excited when I saw him in Wicked.
So great. I loved Wicked too. I mean,
Yeah,
Cynthia is just so stunning in that. Like, there's nobody that sings like that, and you know, I just love Ariana as like a mean girl too. I think it's such a beautiful film. It's just magic, you know, and it's the kind of films that we need, especially now during this time, which is so oppressive and scary. So films like that just make you feel seen and heard. Um, you know, it's a really beautiful film. I think it's just so much of a boost, like psychically, that we need. So yeah, I loved it.
and so my final question, have you got any messages for people watching the Sarah O'Connell show and all of your fans around the world?
I love you. I hope I see you soon. I hope that we get to meet soon. And thank you for watching. And thank you for listening. And thank you for all of your support.
Margaret Cho, thank you so much for your time today. I've had the most fun just celebrating you and your career, and you bring so much joy and laughter to people, but also just so many important messages and topics as well. And I just love everything that you've done. So thank you, not only for
Thank
being on my show,
you.
but just being you.
Oh, you're so lovely. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And thank you to everybody watching at home. Be sure to share, subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and leave lots of lovely comments. I'll see you all again soon for another episode of The Sarah O'Connell Show. Bye.
Bye. Hi, I'm Margaret Cho. Please subscribe to the Sarah O'Connell Show. She is the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wouldn't it be awful if I was the worst and this is how I found out?
No,
Oh no.
no.